This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you an exclusive interview with V. Srinivas, Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances on Special Campaign 2.0. Interviewer is Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent.
The country is all set for Special Campaign 2.0 starting tomorrow, with its focus on clean workspaces and reducing pendency in various government ministries, departments and related offices. To discuss this landmark initiative, we have with us Mr. V. Srinivas, Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances. Mr. Srinivas, welcome to All India Radio.
Thank you for inviting me.
Sir, to begin the discussion, can you tell us about the special campaign launched in 2021? What are its major objectives? How successful was the special campaign 1.0?
The special campaign of 2021 was aimed at minimizing pendency and institutionalizing Swachhata in government. And under this campaign, government offices were cleaned, further record management practices were improved, and we found huge amount of success in terms of scrap disposal, particularly e-scrap being disposed, and lot of rental premises being vacated. So in all, nearly 12 lakh square feet of office space was freed, about 62 crores of scrap was disposed, and the cleanliness campaign was carried out at 6,150 campaign sites, and these included ministries, departments, overseas missions, as also attached and subordinate offices. Further, about 21 lakh files were weeded out.
So what were the best practices that emerged from this experience which can be practiced in the years to come?
The Special Campaign 1.0 identified a number of best practices in the various ministries and departments. What we found was that scrapyards and junkyards were converted into common spaces like parking lots, were converted into cafeterias, wellness centers, and also in some cases were used for office purposes. So we found in the Dak Bhavan, cafeteria, Firangi Pani was established where a dump yard was there. Similarly, in the Ministry of Water Resources, Jal Shakti, we found a scrapyard that was converted into a parking space. So a number of best practices emanated, not only in terms of the Swachhata campaign, but also in terms of office management spaces. That is, digital portals, intra-ministerial digital portals were established in the Ministry of Railways. There were records management practices wherein which NGOs were involved to identify files that were weeded out and convert the waste paper into recycled paper. So files and folders were created. So a number of best practices emerged under the campaign 1.0.
What is the response been on the Swachhata portal, and how many campaign sites will be coming up in this particular campaign?
In the preparatory period from September 15th to 30th, we have received an overwhelming response in terms of the number of cleanliness campaign sites where the special campaign would be implemented. Over 70,000 sites have been identified by ministries and departments in the remotest corners of India, and the emphasis is to simplify the interaction and also to ensure that functional and a healthy working environment is provided not only to government employees but also to citizens who are visiting government offices.
Sir, what is the role of Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances in the successful implementation of the Swachhata portal and Special Campaign 2.0?
The Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances is the nodal department in the Government of India to coordinate the campaign across 84 ministries and departments, all attached, subordinate and autonomous bodies, and overseas missions and posts. We have coordinated with all the nodal officers of this campaign to identify the Swachhata campaign sites, to disseminate best practices, and to coordinate in terms of formulation of guidelines and conduct review meetings to ensure successful and smooth conduct of the campaign. The guidelines note, as also the progress achieved, would be presented to the Council of Ministers on a periodical basis, and further the DARPG would also be taking up a third-party evaluation report after the conclusion of the campaign from November 15th to 30th, and the best practices would be disseminated in workshop that would be conducted in the Good Governance Week 2022 in December.
So what is the scope of the expanded Special Campaign 2.0 as opposed to 6,000 in 2021? The number of cleanliness campaign sites is expected to be nearly 1 lakh this year. So what are the various government entities which have been covered or which have been added?
The Special Campaign 2.0 seeks to institutionalize the best practices of the Swachhata campaign of 1.0. So the number of campaign sites has been expanded to include the remotest locations of the country and also offices which have the highest public interface. So police stations, post offices, railway stations, Krishi Vigyan Kendras are being taken up in huge numbers across the country, wherein which the Swachhata campaign activities will be taken up. 24,000 post offices, 7,300 railway stations, and about 1,095 Krishi Vigyan Kendras are being taken up under this campaign. The objective is to ensure that the Swachhata activities are institutionalized and to create a movement in government for ensuring an office space where people can come and exchange views with government in a very safe and clean working environment where it is aesthetically also extremely pleasant.
So can you tell us something about the reporting and monitoring mechanism while the campaign is being implemented to report the progress for all parameters?
The government has established a comprehensive system of reporting and monitoring data on a single platform that was similar to the special campaign of 2021, and the portal is www.pgportal.gov.in/SCDPM22. On this, all ministries and departments will report data on a daily basis. The Secretaries to Government of India would review the progress on a weekly basis, and the campaign would also have the highest level supervision in terms of honorable ministers in the Council of Ministers overseeing the implementation of the campaign.
So you feel that minimizing pendency is one of the major hallmarks of this campaign?
Yes, minimizing pendency in government is an extremely important step to ensure citizen satisfaction, to improve ease of living, and this is an important feature. People would like government to respond very quickly to ensure that the interface between citizens and government is extremely satisfactory. So this can be done by creation of new digital portals, by efficient management of office spaces, by enhancement of office spaces, adoption of environmental friendly practices, and creating a number of inclusivity measures for disabled persons as also for women and children.
And rules were eased out also for simplification in the Special Campaign 1.0, apart from actual physical removal of files that have outlived their utility. So apart from freeing up physical space, you feel it's a very comprehensive cleansing exercise which is aimed at increasing efficiency and synergy in the government workspaces?
Yes, the campaign has been constructed in a manner to ensure that record management practices are improved, and in this regard, guidelines have been issued both in the Special Campaign of 2021 as also under the Special Campaign of 2022 on how record management practices can be improved, how more and more digital receipts can be ensured, and how digitization should become an integral part of governance structures. So the emphasis is to move from physical files increasingly to e-files by adoption of e-office.
So are there procedural guidelines to ensure that the files which are destroyed have outlived their utility, because all the information which is with government departments is public property?
Yes, there has been a lot of emphasis in terms of improved management of public records to ensure records which are of historical value are transferred to the National Archives of India. Records which are of great importance, which should be of permanent nature, should be maintained in the record rooms of the departments, and records which have outlived their timelines under the record retention schedule will only be weeded out after adoption of due procedures. Under the electronic files, the system is only to close files which have outlived the record retention schedules.
With digitization drive and now with the Special Campaign 1.0 and Special Campaign 2.0, do you see government workspaces in India leaving behind the era of piles of files and becoming sleek, smart office spaces where new ideas bloom and flower, efficiency and synergy are the watchwords, and public dealing is a pleasure both for the visitors and the government officials?
The thrust has been over the past 1 year that we institutionalize Swachhata in government offices. After the special campaign 2021, the ministries and departments were advised to institutionalize Swachhata for 3 hours per week, and nodal officers were updating the progress that they had achieved on the campaign portal. Now, as we head into a major campaign which will cover all the remotest locations of government offices across the length and breadth of India, one can safely say that the Honorable Prime Minister's vision of creating a movement for Swachhata in government would be realized in the coming days.
So would you say that from a month-long drive, it has now become a continuous drive as we saw in the case of Special Campaign 1.0?
Yes, the objective is to ensure pendency is minimized, there is an increased efficiency in decision making, and also an institutionalization of Swachhata. For this, protocols like sanitation committees, cleanliness committees would have to be constituted, which would be functional on a long-term basis. So that is how the movement can be institutionalized.
Is the fact that this campaign is starting on 2nd October an inspiration in itself, as Mahatma Gandhi's highest priorities in life were cleanliness and simplicity, which is what we are aiming for in our government workspaces through this special campaign?
Tomorrow is a very special day for the nation. It is the birthday of the father of the nation, and the Special Campaign 2.0 would be launched by the Honorable Minister of State for Personal Public Grievances and Pensions in the Department of Administrative Reforms. He would take a round of the department as also conduct a review with all the departments under his supervision on that day.
And so what are your expectations from a Special Campaign 2.0 based on the outcome of Special Campaign 1.0?
The specific focus of Special Campaign 2.0 would be digitization. The thrust is to create intra-ministerial portals, 100% digital receipts. Ministries have been requested to use compactors and clear electronic scrap. For enhancement of office spaces, they've been asked to establish wellness centers, improve office corridors, automatic power systems in case of conference halls, library spaces, electric vehicle charging systems should be operationalized.
And who all do you think will benefit from this exercise?
The millions of citizens who visit India's government offices would benefit extensively from healthy office environments, decluttered office spaces, and also it would be visiting a government office. We've tried to decrease the number of times a citizen should visit a government office. The number of interface between a citizen and government, Digital India movement has brought down. But even when there is an occasional visitor to government office, that experience should be extremely comfortable and convenient. Also for the staff who are working there, like section officers, under-secretaries, office assistants who are working there, the experience should be a stress-free and a highly motivating one. And I'm sure Special Campaign 2.0 will result in a very conducive and healthy working environment.
Sir, do you think this will also give a push to all the other reforms and schemes of the current government which have been introduced to make India a manufacturing hub, to attract investment into the country? Do initiatives like this increase the confidence of investors in India as a country, as an investment destination?
The Special Campaign 2.0 would focus a great deal on increasing efficiency in decision making also. So faster decision making is something that everybody looks at. Quality decision making is something that not only India's citizens but also investors are looking at. And I'm sure the massive thrust towards digitization that is being taken up in government offices would be a highly enabling feature.
Mr. Srinivas, thank you so much for this enlightening discussion on various key aspects of Special Campaign 2.0, a transformative initiative to modernize and energize government workspaces.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to an exclusive interview with V. Srinivas, Secretary, Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances on Special Campaign 2.0. Interviewer was Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.